It is a great joy to observe artists in the wild. Let's turn our gaze to this particular one. She is trying to fit in with her peers. We can see from the mismatched tools in her pockets that she has still not found her kind of people. A tragic fate to not know one's place. The emo and the goth kids have casted her out for her sunshine attitude. The art industry seems suspicious of her lackluster career so far. Will she find acceptance maybe in this group of furries? Yeah, they are willing to adopt right now, it seems. Lovely, very lovely.
Hello, Editing Moon here. Just here to say that my thoughts can be kinda rambly and all over the place, so I'm pulling a lot of different anecdotes together and structuring my videos in a weird way, but trust me, it will all come together in the end. There will be some cute artist memes, TikToks in between all these ramblings, kind of to freshen up the content, and otherwise we are watching some speed paints today of just some photo studies that I did with the subject glass because I wanted to learn some reflections and how those work. Okay? I see you at the end card.
Since the pandemic hit, I've been doing art commissions, which mostly means furries. Sometimes I do people's cats or their D&D characters, but it was furries most of the time. What is art to me and why do I do it? I do it because I have to. I'm addicted to it. It's the only thing I'm actually kind of good at, and like any addict, everything else bores me to death. So furries at least indulge me and pay me for it, and that is kind of nice. But lately, I'm searching for more. For more reasons, for my own projects, my own ideas. And this brought these artist ideals back to my mind. Let me introduce you. They are in the best comic about making comics, Scott McCloud's Making Comics. It's not just for comics, though. It's more about writing in the medium of comics and what storytelling and writing means. Mostly he focuses on comics, but I always find his ideas also applicable to other art forms. Scott has one chapter where he categorized different schools of comic makers and why he categorized them and how it can be useful to think this way. But he also emphasized that throughout your career you can change directions if need be. It was basically the meme of X types of artists, and I want to show them to you because while we have fun nowadays with the meme of this, Scott McCloud version of this was actually helpful to me, to see different projects as different paths I could take in my art career. And then never did, because making a living from art is scary and I never achieved it. But I have learned a lot and now I have many anecdotes to share with the class. That's you. I'm your new substitute teacher and there is no sorting hat ritual. You can just pick and choose your friends. Think of it more of philosophies about why you want to make art and stuff. Types of artists, art mediums. 1. The traditional art mediums. Wow, are those oil paints? 2. The ones drawing digitally and holding over 1,000 brushes. 3. The ones who can make any medium work, but they do have their favorite. Ah, look at that, it's a pencil. And 4. The anarchists. The ones that are batshit masochists and try to find new mediums to make art in, just as part of self-torture. Like you can technically make portraits out of Rubik's Cubes or Oreos, yes. You never know what object they're using next. I'm straight up stealing this from McCloud because I searched for it on YouTube and I didn't really find much except for this one channel who stopped uploading a while ago. I hope they're alright. The traditionalists. The idea of art itself is exciting. The beauty, the tradition of it, the history of the mediums reaching for beauty and perfection even if it's always out of reach. Trying to do art that people in 100 years could still appreciate as good. Art needs craftsmanship and mastery. 2. The animists. The belief that art needs a good story, that characters feel human, and the storytelling shouldn't intervene with the story itself. Making your readers, viewers, your audience fully immersed within the story. Art needs heart and humanity. The experimentalists. trying to invent and play with the medium itself. What language does art take? How does it function? Art should move forward, be new, and have interesting new things to say. How does something work? Think of this as the people that are the scientists of the artist, trying to dissect and experiment with art forms. What even is art? The revolutionists. Artists who seek truth and authenticity, never going mainstream and selling out, being true to the bitter world of reality, depicting art as life, gruesome and not smoothed over by outsiders. Art needs to be true more than pretty. Types of artists, art blogs. 1. The working professional. I haven't had an art blog for 3 years because I'm just working every day, so I can't afford an art blog. It helps being on payroll and other people decide on the project. 2. The ones that just chill and wait it out. Art and inspiration is fluid, and watching a movie is recharging your energy. Take your time. 3. This one here is a perfectionist. They have a lot of internal things going on, and overcoming it will help them through their art blog. They are likely scrolling through social media and talking to other artists or doing a challenge to overcome this. 4. The one who has external pressure on them. When art is your safe space and your life is stressful, sometimes you have other priorities that keep you from your art. But they are still an artist and they will return to it. So, a few years back now, I had the story for a book, Ella's Heart. It's in the fantasy genre and has elves, orcs, and some of my own creatures in it. And then there's the dog. The creature that is basically a Slenderman surgeon. And when my protagonist goes to study under that creature, she finds him cutting open humans, orcs, elves, fairies, and every magical creature I invent, to find that they neatly nestle into human evolution. They are all humans and all connected through magic. This disturbs and frustrates the Doctor because, as far as he can tell, he is the only non-human sapient life form. The twist is he's actually an abandoned alien, but he never knew. Anyway, when I researched for this book, I read a lot about what makes us human, how anthropologic studies humans and what we have found out so far about our ancestors, what really distinguishes us from other animals. It's a very deep philosophical question with many different answers. Many answers that make me unhappy even. Like, some people argue that we, humans, can love. And I hate that with a passion. I'm a very romantic person, but I wouldn't need love. Some people don't love, don't have romantic feelings. Some people are loners by choice. And I find that an answer of what makes us human, excluding these people, is lacking. Any answer that excludes humans overall is not a good definition of humanity. Another answer is the soul. I hate this answer even more. What is a soul? Is it a gift from God? I reject having a soul because it's not an answer and it's used to exclude people who you don't agree with from our human society. Religious fanatics have said in all centuries that the other religions don't have souls, that they are praying to the wrong gods. The royals of all time have branded the art of the commoners as soulless. Racism and hatred and all kinds of hate crimes have been justified with soulless behavior. Oh, we are human. We are humans. But those people? No, they aren't humans. They just look like it, but really they are monsters. Now that we have a fuck ton of humans living on Earth, people have even started to say there's no way that there exists so many souls. It must all be NPCs. And don't you fucking dare. Don't you fucking dare. If you even start saying this, I don't want you on my channel. If you hear thoughtless babble like that, it's hard to believe in human intelligence at all, which is problematic for us because it's the third argument for human exceptionism. Now, I'm not smart enough to outperform a pigeon on a chess game or to square up against our replacement, the artificial intelligence, so let's shelve this argument, right? Now, here are two more arguments which I personally really like. Tools and art. As an artist, I am partial to this, of course, but I gotta acknowledge my bias here and think critically. Is art really that unique in the animal kingdom? And if yes, when did humans start doing art? Is tool making a prerequisite, and should we consider this first? I love this because it also includes many nonverbal humans like children, autistic people, or disabled people. There are sometimes definitions of humanity that kind of exclude disabled people, and that always leaves a bitter taste in my mouth. But there's also a very surprising argument for what makes us human, the one I find the most comfort and love in, and it's cooking. Cooking is so personal. Every human needs to eat, and compared to many other animals, we are at the same time very picky but also very versatile to food. If we can cook it first, cooking is very regional, cultural, and helps us bond with each other. In my fantasy book, the Dr. Alien figured this out as well. He pinpoints food and cooking as the connecting tissue between all fantasy races. He tries so hard to find food that he likes, and the protagonist, Ella, adopts him into the human race with some soup. They share it and never tell anyone their findings about the Doctor being not from this earth. It stays a secret between them and the reader. Well, it would be if I actually worked more on my book. I've been very focused on more shorter projects, on commissions, some short comics, and my visual art. Someday I will return to that book about the question what makes us human, packed into a high fantasy horror story. Right now I reflect on that story when I cook something delicious. I'm also very tempted to go back to learning and research for that book alone. Recently I've started to joke about going back to university. You know how some plans start as a joke so you can test the waters, how much people laugh at you? Yeah, I am the funny to compensate with insecurities type. But that was super hard for you to figure out. When I think of this book, of this big project I want to work on someday, I feel like the animists, waiting for the human aspect, for characters and stories. It also has a lot of unpretty horror elements to it, like the revolutionists demand. Trying to decipher what humanity is by showing characters at their best and their worst. It's a horror story. Types of artist. Drawing alone versus in public versus with others. 1. The ones lonely in their apartment. Not even their friends and family are allowed to interrupt their creative process. There's something romantic about perfecting the craft all by yourself. 2. The ones going out in public to draw the street they really like or sketch in a cafe, surrounded by strangers, and sort of in company, but only vaguely. 3. The ones who draw with their friends. This can be online or offline. I have friends that I sometimes call over Skype or Discord, and we both have our art programs open. 4. The ones that are really publicly drawing, mostly online. It's so cool how we can connect all over the world and show how our art is done. And the streaming community is very chill and hype sensitive. It's a very addicting thing to stream. You know, you should follow me on Twitch. People want to waste time. When you are done with your work, when the chores are over, when you just wait for the next day to do it all over again, you want to waste time. This is time for hobbies. Some consume content, be it series, books, TV shows, internet memes or arguments, or time with friends and family. We have free time, we like to spend it on our own terms. For me, it's with art. Taking years to learn my art skills wasn't bad. It was a delightful and good time, because wasting time is good actually, and enjoying life sometimes means doing stuff the hard and tedious way. These types of artists is more like a question. What do you value in art? I find that sometimes I can lock myself into just analyzing art and trying to learn art techniques. That I did commissions, because then I wouldn't have to worry about the heart of it. I could just focus on the best execution possible. I could focus on my craftsmanships, on how good my technique is, like the classes do. The rise of machine learning and machine learning art really scared me, because I feel like my purpose, my technique of just focusing on good visuals makes me more replaceable than any artist that actually works for their own ideas. I have ideas, but I have never felt good enough for them, and they are all pretty long and big projects, long as books or comics that I would love to make. I had this one stupid idea to make an animatic to a Vocaloid song, which I started to plan out, and I was a fangirl, and I put some recordings and some character designs. And it doesn't matter, young me dreamed big, but I like those dreams. Now though, I want to work on small projects to start fresh. I made this one fan comic to Hero Academia, which completely flopped and no one read it. I still love it. But it's fine. It was 16 pages of comic and 20 pages of illustrations put together into one zine, and I printed it and it sold 3 copies so far. Wow me. But it taught me a lot. My next project is gonna be about the same amount of pages, a comic with original characters this time around. There's a lot of fear from the artist community since machine learning has become accessible. I'm just as anxious as my peers, but what am I supposed to do? I will stop doing commissions for now. For one, I think many people who would commission me will switch over to machine learning, and that's scary. It really is. For a while, I hoped I could be a freelance artist, just doing fur commissions and that it will all work out in the end. I don't have that hope right now, but I will rebuild it with new hopes and new dreams. Here's another thing I learned. Sorting yourself into artist memes is fun and relatable. And you often think, oh, that's me. But also that, or I really want to be that one. And with these philosophies that Scott McCloud had, it's the same thing. It's fun. It can help you figure yourself out as an artist and how to work on projects, where to find like-minded people. There's something so validating in seeing other people struggle with exactly the same problems. But I also learned that I got addicted to the internet validating me and my beliefs. My art, something I try to distance myself from a bit more now. Social media has really warped our perception of creativity and hobbies. Stop doing things to post them. Just write. Just journal. Just sketch. Just read. Just annotate. Just sing. Just scratch it. Just do the thing you're going to do with the assumption no one will ever see it or know you did it. Stop performing. Just enjoy it. Go and waste your time if you have time to waste. Types of artists. The scammers. There's so much great art, but never enough great historic art. So really, the artists drawing fakes and selling them to rich dudes are doing society a service. 2. The fucking machine learning artists. I don't even need to explain this, I'm just scared and angry. Yes, I'm glad you can make your own characters and don't have to rely on artists for your D&D campaign, but don't steal my job and try to grift and shortcut the learning. 3. The unprofessional commission artists. Let's face it, sometimes art commissions don't turn out the best. Some artists try to do commissions and fail to deliver on time or quality, or they take way more commissions than they can handle. This might not be done with the intention of a scam, but it's common enough and gives us commission artists a bad rep. The grifters and shells, number 4. The ones selling you a course on direct sale or social media marketing. They might have artistic skill and got recruited to legitimate another person's scam, like NFTs. For the most part, these artists are also taken advantage of, but they still have to answer for the consequences. Getting in on a grift makes for garbage human beings, no matter how good the payout was and how little they were pulling the strings. No respect. Thank you for watching. I wanted to make a shorter video, something light and breezy. But I guess existential horror of YouTube scammers trying to sell me how to become a machine learning artist grifter myself kinda got in the way. That and my respected brother now wants to learn AI art instead of learning it the hard way. You were my hero, Clemens. It's such an utter betrayal. Possible video topics for next time. Making a comic and how I planned it out. 2. Registering for conventions and my experience going to Artist Alley. 3. My side projects of tiny animated scenes. 4. Furry species challenge. You know, when people draw like different furry species to show off how cool they are, like drawing different animals. I'm kind of tempted to do that. I will send you off with a great quote from my favorite podcast, Welcome to Night Vale. Lie down and look up at the ceiling and breathe with those curiously fragile lungs of yours and remind yourself, don't worry. All is as it was meant to be. It was meant to be lonely and terrifying and unfair and fleeting. Don't worry.